A Bloody Romance, Jeff the Killer Ex-Reader, by DeathyTheKiller on Wattpad. Chapter 1. I was on a killing spree. I had already killed 4 people. I climbed in through my victim's window and entered the bedroom. I smiled. He was sound asleep. I smiled. I carefully and quietly walked to him. Then, I pounced on him. He woke up and began to struggle. Amazingly, he wasn't strong enough. I covered his mouth and put the knife to his neck. "I don't want to die. I don't want to die, so you're gonna have to," I sang, then slit his neck and stabbed his chest. He stopped struggling, and then there was just silence. I smiled and climbed out the window. Once I reached the ground, I put my knife back in its sheath that was connected to my belt. From there, I started running home, still smiling from my killing spree. I lived deep in the woods in a very modern house. After a few minutes, I finally reached my house. I walked in the front door and locked it. Then I closed all the curtains and went to my bedroom. I walked into my bathroom and got undressed. My clothes were covered in blood after all. I took a shower and got dressed in my pajamas. I walked downstairs to the kitchen and made a small midnight snack. Once I finished my snack, I cleaned up my food and went back upstairs. I walked back into my bedroom and put on some rock music. Then I climbed into my bed and soon fell asleep. Chapter 2. I woke up frowning. Ever since I started killing, I've always felt a bit bad after. I tried my best to ignore it, though, although sometimes that seemed to be impossible. I got up and took a shower. Once out of the shower, I went to my dresser and got dressed. I brushed my hair and walked downstairs for breakfast. Once I finished my meal, I got up and began walking to the sink. Then, I suddenly froze and dropped my plate. I had a feeling, a bad feeling, like something was watching my every move. I screamed, and suddenly everything went black. I blacked out. I woke up several hours later. I felt dizzy, but ignored it. I got cleaned up the broken plate, and went upstairs. It was already nightfall. I got dressed into some comfy pajamas and sat down on the couch in the living room. I turned on the TV and watched it for about an hour. Then I walked back into my bedroom. Once I walked in the room, I had the same feeling. The feeling of someone watching my every move. Then I noticed something strange. My window. It was wide open. But I haven't opened that window in ages. I hesitated, but closed the window. I crawled into my bed and shut my eyes. I tried my best, but I just couldn't fall asleep. What was keeping me awake? Why can I not sleep? I had that feeling again and shrugged it off. Soon after, I finally fell asleep. Chapter 3. I was in one of the dark corners of her room. She was sleeping soundly. I remember how she hesitated to close the open window. I smirked. I loved killing. It was a fantastic skill of mine. Slowly and quietly, I sneaked up from behind her. Smiling widely, I raised my knife. I was about to stab her, but she turned. She moved her body. I could now see her face. I almost gasped when I did. She was almost as beautiful as me. She was just so gorgeous. She's so beautiful, I can't kill her. Wait, what? I'm Jeff the Killer. I don't have feelings. I kill whoever I want, when I want, I thought. I smirked and slowly raised my knife. YN's POV. I heard something and immediately opened my eyes. Once I did, I immediately regretted it. In front of me stood what looked like a teenage boy, holding a knife. My eyes went wide. I'm not dying. I'm never gonna die, I thought. I quickly shifted my leg and kicked him. He fell back. I then immediately grabbed a dagger that I had always hid under my sheets. I jumped off the bed and pushed him against the wall. I held the knife to his neck. To my surprise, he didn't look fearful. He didn't struggle to break free. Instead, he laughed. I was then confused. "Why aren't you scared?" I asked. He just kept laughing. I was angry. "Stop laughing," I yelled. When he didn't stop, I shifted my knee up and hit him right where it hurts most. He then stopped laughing and held his spot. I pulled away from him and he fell to his knees, still holding his spot. I smiled evilly. He looked at me with rage. "Why the hell did you do that?" he hollered angrily. I laughed and continued to smile evilly. "Just tell me who you are and why you almost killed me. You better answer. This could get a little ugly," I said threateningly. He stood up. He looked at me, smirking. I was once again confused. He stepped forward and was then in the moonlight that was coming from a window. I gasped when I saw his face. He had a pale face that looked like if you touched it, it would feel leathery. He had a bloody smile cut into his face that went all the way to his cheeks. His hair was a dark, very dark, black. I immediately realized who it was. It was the infamous DeathyTheKiller. I dropped my knife and backed away. I became fearful. I knew all about Jeff and what he did. He smirked evilly and began walking closer. I kept walking away and soon backed into a wall. I froze. He was now a few steps away from me. "You're Jeff the Killer," I said, stuttering. He smirked evilly again and nodded, stepping closer. Chapter 4. I was terrified. What on earth is he planning on doing to me? I thought. He was only a step away. Out of the blue, he grabbed my wrists and pinned them to the wall. I tried kicking him, but he stepped on my feet to stop me from moving my legs. "Shh," he said. I slowed my breathing. He then grabbed both of my wrists again and held them in one of his hands, then pinned them back to the wall. With his other hand, he caressed my face. "You're so beautiful," he whispered. My eyes widened a bit and my heart raced. First he tries to kill me, next he tells me I'm beautiful? What is going on? I thought, but was soon cut off when he surprisingly kissed me. He pulled away after a few moments. I almost gasped, but my eyes did widen. You kissed me," I said, frozen in shock. He smirked and nodded. "You know why?" he asked. "Why?" I asked, nervously. He caressed my face again. "Because you're mine," he said, then pulled away and let me go. He smirked at me one more time, then jumped out of my window. I just stood there, frozen.